Let's go.
Okay, what is the most exciting form of intellectual property? You guessed it, trade secrets. But what if you could reverse engineer a trade secret? What is reverse engineering? Today, all this, plus Skittles! This is stuff you should know about IP. Okay, so what is this show that you were telling us about, Candice? First of all, let's take a step back. Candice,
let's frame it. Yeah.
Well, we got to introduce Candice first. Candice is our trusted, our favorite, dare I say, hopefully no one else on our team watches this, video shooter and editor on the executive IP team. Candice makes our training content come to life.
Yeah,
so of all time. Okay. So
introduction. Thank you. That's very kind.
So now that we've got her blushing, Candice.
So let's frame it, Ray. Let's frame the question, which is, where were we when this came into our lives? We were filming on Saturday, right?
Exactly. We're talking about
trade secrets. Right. Yep. We're talking about trade secrets. And Candice got out from behind the camera and said there was this show that she really wanted me to see because it made her think about trade secrets. And that show was?
Bon Apetit. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was a show by Bon Apetit called Gourmet Makes with Claire something. Claire,
I got her name.
So yeah, don't worry that I asked you to prep that before we started, Candice. It doesn't reduce your credibility at all.
You gotta give her credit.
No, but you just look like Claire.
Wait, I did say you know her name, right? And you said yes.
Claire Saffitz.
Claire something.
Claire Saffitz. I just don't like saying people's last name incorrectly.
Ah, yes. Okay, I got it. That makes sense. Okay, so you said you got to check out the show Bon Appetit, and then you mentioned something about Skittles. Yeah. Right?
So in this show, I'm watching often, in the mornings, and they're always reverse engineering like well-known candies like Reese's, Skittles, Jelly Bellies, and it's like pretty hard and complicated stuff. And these are big companies. So, I mean, I'm always thinking, I wonder if these are trade secrets. Like, is she about to like blow them out of the water by accident? Like, they must be aware that they are, that they have to be treading on water lightly. Like, are the companies in on it? Are they not? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And so that got me, of course, thinking about trade secrets. And by the way, I think Skittles are owned by Mars, maybe.
Yep.
But right.
Yeah.
And they were in a trade secret infringement or theft litigation 2 years ago that did not relate to this. I just did a quick search, and there was some senior executive. He was like the CFO or something.
Mars Wrigley.
Yes, and they own Skittles, but it wasn't about this. So I watched that episode, Candice, about Skittles, and it was really cool. It was the reverse engineering process by a layperson, who, by the way, is not a layperson in the cooking world. Right. But she's not an expert at reverse engineering. She's just doing it. So basically, I watched her as she went. It was like 3 weeks of, the show was only 17 minutes, but the elapsed time was like 2 or 3 weeks. And she's trying different flavors. Basically, she started with Skittles, right?
Yeah.
And they cut them in half, and she's like looking at the thin surface of it, and how do you do that? And then she's got these people coming in, and she's making taffy, and then she's making other stuff. And ultimately, they're trying to figure out how to make it, right?
Yeah.
They go to the back, they read the ingredients, and ultimately, by the end, she makes something that looks like a Skittle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this, though, represents the fragility of trade secrets. So if you have a patent, as you know, you have protection. And if somebody copies you, or if they independently invent it, it doesn't matter. If you have a patent, they cannot make, use, or sell, or offer to sell in the nation where you have the patent, right?
Yes.
So if this woman, what was her name again?
Claire
Saffitz.
You don't know the last name, do you?
Claire Saffitz, Gourmet Makes.
Okay, yeah. So Claire, if she,
we want her to come on the show someday. Claire, if you see this, we want to know, like,
but our audience is way bigger than hers. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But anyway, if Claire were to do this, And if there were a patent, she would be guilty of patent infringement because she would be making. It's violating the make provision, right? But if there were a patent, she wouldn't have to go through all these machinations because a patent teaches you how to do it, right?
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
if you're reasonably skilled in the art, you can read the patent. It's kind of like a cookbook. It teaches you how to do it. So she spent 2 or 3 weeks trying to figure it out. She wouldn't have had to do that if there was a patent. But when she did it, she'd be charged with patent infringement.
But if she didn't sell it, though, would she be charged with patent infringement?
Well, she probably wouldn't be charged because what are you going to get out of it? But she would be guilty because if you're guilty if you make, use, sell, or offer to sell a patented product, right?
Yikes.
So
yeah.
yes, she would be guilty, but they would probably say, well, she's actually giving us publicity, getting people all excited about buying Skittles. Like Ray bought Skittles because of that show.
As soon as I saw her squeeze the Skittle and how soft it was, it was almost like I'd smell it through the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, my mouth watered, and I was like, I haven't had Skittles in years. I have to have Skittles now.
Right. So they wouldn't have sued her because they probably would have thanked her, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean she isn't guilty of it. It just means they choose not to enforce it. But so the good side is you get a patent, you can read it, and it tells you exactly how to make it. I mean, basically, if you're reasonably skilled in the field, you can make it. A trade secret, though, does not teach you how to make it. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It hides it from you. So you have to go through 2 or 3 weeks trying to figure it out. But the good news is once you figure it out, you can do it. You can make it, you can use it, you can sell it, you can offer to sell it because there's no intellectual property that prevents you from figuring it out yourself. And that is called reverse engineering, which, Candice, you know, because you've had to film enough of my boring videos that, you know, you at least look like you're enjoying yourself. I know you're faking, but
I'm learning it. I'm learning every day from those. It's an important element of life, actually.
Right. So she was reverse engineering, and there's all these companies out there. I think we talked about this in a video. When I was younger, I don't know if they still have it, but there's a company called Taeus, T-A-E-U-S, Tear Apart Everything Under the Sun. They are a reverse engineering lab. They do what she did all the time. That's what their job is. Companies hire them to reverse engineer stuff. So the plus side of getting a patent is people can't copy you. The downside is it only has a life of 20 years from the date of filing wherever you are in the world if you got one in that country. The plus side of trade secrets is it can be protecting you forever. The downside is they're fragile because if you have a woman like Claire going in there and making the taffy and trying to figure out how it's made, and if she figures it out, your trade secret's blown, right?
Yeah, so but like how could they like do anything? So say she just did that like almost perfectly. Like how would they know, first of all, that obviously the company would know, but like the layman, anyone else like me watching, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go attempt to make a Skittle now and start selling them. What would then happen?
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. Number one, you can figure it out on your own with reverse engineering and you're totally fine. However, if you steal the secrets, if somebody from the company sells Claire the secrets, now they can enforce their trade secret because it's trade secret misappropriation. So if you figure it out on your own by taking their product apart, doing what she did, you're okay. Now, let's say Claire decides she wants to go to market with an unpatented Skittle, right?
Yeah.
So she goes out with her colored Skittles. She puts Skittles on the box and she sells them in the marketplace. Is she okay?
No.
Why?
Well, because there's this little circle R next to the word Skittles.
Exactly, because there is another form of intellectual property, right?
Yes.
We've only been talking about trade secrets and patents, but there's trademarks too, right? So Skittles is trademarked.
I feel like I just got the answer right in class.
Oh my God, I'm so thrilled that
Like
you
me.
did. Yeah, Ray, just two short years ago, you would have said, I don't think so.
No. As I drag my knuckles across the floor.
That's right. But today, and by the way, I just want to have a quick little side note. Ray is going to start law school in August of 2021. He's going to become a patent lawyer. I just want to throw that out there.
If they let me in.
Of course, for our millions of followers out there, Ray is going to become a patent lawyer in 4 short years.
Oh.
Because he still has the problem of having to get a science degree too, but it's just a detail. It's just
darn that Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, you got to get the science degree. But anyway, he's going to do it. So getting back to it though, there's more than one form of intellectual property. There's trade secrets, there's patents. I mean, the big 4 are patents, trade secrets, trademarks, and copyrights. And in this case, if Claire decided, hell yes, I'm going to go to market now. I figured it out on my own. There's no patent. I reverse engineered their trade secret. I'm going to market. I'm going to make me some money, right?
Could she patent it then?
No, well, you mean because she figured out what someone else did? Great question, but no. You know why? Because first of all, she didn't invent it. She figured out what they did. But what if she figured out another way? Because you might remember in that episode, she wasn't really trying to figure out what they did as much as trying to figure out, I think she said, a healthier alternative to the same taste and the same flavor, right? So what about that? Can she patent her new formula? And the answer is probably. I mean, you have to, it's probably patentable subject matter. I mean, it's a complicated question, but your point is well taken. And that is, if she does it differently, it's not like a copyright where if you create a derivative work, it's still infringing the copyright, right?
Yeah.
This, if you create a derivative work, if you will, if you enhance what's already out there, if you make it different, right? You can get your own patent on it.
Right.
Now, just so that we're clear, because there might be some IP dinks out there who are like already getting angry. If you get a copyright, and if Candice has a copyright and Ray creates a derivative work, like you have a painting and he makes a sculpture of it, right?
Right.
It's a derivative work which probably violates your copyright, but he can get a copyright on his derivative work, right? He can't actually reproduce it without violating yours, but he can get a copyright. And much the same in patents, except that in patents, unless you're infringing the original one, which means you make something that contains all the elements of the broadest claims, you're not infringing, which means your enhancement can be independently patented, and you can block them from going to market with them, and you can go to market because you're not infringing their patent. Does any of that make sense?
Mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so yes, that's pretty, it's an interesting situation with this woman because she's reverse engineering. She's figuring it out. There's no patents, we assume. She can go to market, but she'd have to come up with something new, a new brand name, right? And maybe new packaging, because you could get, they probably have trademark infringement, and they probably also have trade dress infringement on the packaging of that Skittles bag that you just showed us.
Would that be like the way that the wrapper is like, what would you call that? Tapered?
Well, that could be an ornamental, that could be a design patent, the way that they, I mean, trade dress and design patents are similar anyway, but what I'm thinking is the color scheme, the whole flavor of, and basically if someone sees that package, even if they don't see the word Skittles, they'll probably think it's Skittles, which means the Mars company probably has trademark protection on the term Skittles in connection with their product in there, and then also trade dress protection on like the whole packaging, you know, colors and all that sort of thing.
So what do you think, like the Skittles IP or their legal team thinks when she makes a show like that? You think
Yeah, I mean,
that's a great question.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're more excited because, well, the marketing team is excited, okay? So there's different parts of the Mars company. There's the legal team. They might not be as excited. The marketing team is thrilled because Ray went out and bought Skittles just because he watched that video, right?
I only watched like the first 5 minutes of it, and I
wanted some Skittles.
I need Skittles stat.
Listen, I'm unquestionably going to be getting Skittles next time I'm at Wegman, which, by the way, is my favorite grocery store on earth. But I'm definitely going to be getting me some Skittles because I watched it. So the marketing department is probably thrilled. But the legal department, the IP department, if it's a trade secret, and we don't even know if it is one, we're just speculating, right? But if it is, they're probably cringing a little bit because they probably don't like when people reverse engineer their stuff.
And broadcast it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the
sure.
thing about trade secrets. They are fragile. They could live forever. The Coke formula is trade secreted from like 1890 or something. And if they had patented it, back in those days, patents only lived for 8 or 17 years from the date of grant. It would have been no longer a patent by like 1910 or so. And there probably wouldn't even be a Coca-Cola anymore because everyone would have copied them and they might not have had enough chance to build their strong brand at that point. But because of the mystique around their trade secret and the fact that no one can really know what's in it exactly, they've built Coca-Cola Company, probably a lot around that trade secret. So it's lasted over 100 years, right? The secret has lasted over 100 years. But if somebody leaked it, it would have only lasted 100 days, you know?
Right.
That's the weakness of these trade secrets. So, you know, you have to really think about it. So basically, here's a quick question. You know, here's something you should ask yourself. I've got an invention. Should I pursue patent protection? Or should I pursue trade secret protection, right? Because they're the same kind of things. Like if you can get a patent, you can also probably try to protect it as a trade secret. So you have to ask yourself, number one, can we keep it secret? Are we the kind of organization that's really good at keeping stuff secret? If not, let's go for patent protection.
Right.
Secondly, can someone reverse engineer it? Because if they can, our trade secret won't last that long, so we should get a patent. At the same time, though, you might say, wow, patents are not long enough. I need 50 years of protection. Well, then hopefully it's not the kind of thing someone can reverse engineer easily, and you have an organization that can keep secrets.
And I wonder how much you really have to like reverse engineer to really blow that trade secret out of the water. Like if it's off by one thing, you know, I mean, does it have to be exactly spot on or like, you know, to
I don't know, just ask RC Cola. No.
I guess so.
What is RC Cola?
No, yeah, you guys might not know because you're not old enough. But when I was a kid, there was a thing called RC Cola. And when I was a kid, we used to always say, wow, that tastes just like Coke, you know? Yeah. And clearly, Ray doesn't even know what RC Cola is, so they haven't succeeded, even though they probably went after and tried to make it just as good, right? And who knows, maybe they even nailed it. And because, you know, when they do those blind taste tests with Coke and Pepsi, like it's 50-50, you know, half the people don't get it right.
Yeah.
It's because these things are probably all very similar, but the trade secret is more than just about the trade secret. It's about the mystique around it. It's about the branding around it, you know? It's about Coke and this awesome brand, which is largely because of their trade secret, even if someone did crack the code, you know? So if somebody comes out with the, you know, if you come out with the Candice brand, you know, the Candice candy, the CC, the Candice candy, and it looks and tastes a lot like Skittles, I'm still grabbing for the Skittles.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm comforted by that brand. Ray, hold that package up. You hold that package up, and I feel comfortable because I know when I rip that bag open, I'm going to like it. You know? Why?
Because it's every time.
Right, exactly. Same quality. It's good. It's going to be what I want. It's what my brain is forcing my.
Am I torturing you guys?
To salivate over, right? Yeah.
Oh, good.
But if I get the Candice brand, I don't know what I'm going to get, you know? Yeah. So I'll probably still buy the Skittles, even if it's more expensive, because I trust the brand. So intellectual property is not just one thing. When you look at a product or service, you need to be thinking about all forms of intellectual property because they all touch our brains in a different spot, you know? The taste from the actual Skittle, the brand identity with the Skittles packaging and the Skittles trade dress, you know, the thrill that maybe this is trade secreted and Candice can't possibly figure it out, although Claire may have.
Claire was spot on with a lot of those things.
Yeah. Oh, she is?
I'm like, she would be a valuable asset to any, like, team who's trying to, like, you know.
Figure stuff out. Hey, so quick question before we close up. Do you know offhand of any other products that she's done this with?
Oh, yeah.
Can you think of any? Oh, Reese's?
Reese's.
Wait, not the peanut butter cup.
Oh, yeah.
Oreos?
Oh, my God. I love the Reese's peanut butter cup.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth the calories.
You know, we could just do a different candy every week on the show, and I'll try them all.
I know.
Yeah, then we'll all be like 30 pounds heavier by the end. Whatever the end is.
But it makes you appreciate those candies a lot more because you watch her like take 3 weeks to make like 15 Skittles, and you're like, shoot, I could just go to the store and buy a bag for $2 and here we go. I can eat them. Like, you know.
And it also shows you, here's another thing. You know, people, I often hear this. Let's just switch to drugs for a moment. I don't mean illegal drugs. I mean prescription drugs. People complain that drug companies can make a drug for like $1 and they sell it for $200. But look how hard it is to figure out. I mean, we're talking about Skittles, right? It took her 3 weeks, and she's like a cooking expert, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is her thing. And it took her like 3 weeks, and she still probably didn't nail it totally, right?
Yeah.
But she probably came close. But it took her 3 weeks to figure it out, right? I mean, these things don't just fall off a tree. You have to figure these things out. And drugs, I mean, my God, they spend billions trying to figure out drugs. Look what's happening with COVID right now. They're trying to come up with a cure for our pandemic. They're spending probably, I think it's the B word. It's probably billions.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, trying to figure this out. And then when they get a little pill that looks like a Skittle and we take it and we're like, damn, why don't they just charge like 30 cents? Because it only costs them 30 cents each, but it costs them billions to figure out,
Maybe
right?
the materials cost 30 cents, but the R&D cost billions.
I mean, people, now Skittles are Skittles, but, and by the way, let's look at the difference. She's reverse engineering, right?
Right.
When you're talking about drugs, they're not reverse engineering. They're figuring it out, right?
Right.
And it's way more complicated than a nice sugar taste.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Although now...
They don't taste as good, but...
But if you go to Reese's Peanut Butter Cups now, I don't know. That's impressive. That's like one of my top 100 things ever invented in this world.
All right, so next episode, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Maybe we can get Claire on for that episode, and the four of us can, I don't know.
Work it out.
We'll help her expand her audience a little bit.
Yes, we'll help her to expand because we have a much bigger audience than she does.
I think she'd be doing us a huge favor.
Yes.
All right, well, Candice, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was a really awesome topic. We got to talk about trade secrets, reverse engineering. We even somehow squeezed in trademarks and patents, which is cool, because that wasn't even part of the plan.
You'd think we were intellectual property people. Exactly,
right? So, all right, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. When you do, hit that bell notification if you're on YouTube. If you're on LinkedIn, like, share, and comment. Tell us what you think of this. You want more of this? More? You want to see me eat more candy? Because I'd be more than happy. Just let us know in the comment box below. And thank you. Stuff you should know about IP.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Bye.